is finally Brahman, and appears to be a multiplicity of different things and different events, only by reason of Maya, which is illusion, magic, art, creative power. So then, it is basic to the Vedanta that Brahman, this intangible, non-objective ground of everything that exists, is identical with the ground of you. And this is put in the formula Tattvam Asi. We should translate that into a modern American idiom as "you're it." This, of course, is a doctrine which is very difficult for those brought up in the Judeo-Christian traditions to accept, because it is fundamental to Christian and Jewish theology that whatever you are surely not the Lord God. And Christians feel about the Hindu doctrine that we are all fundamentally masks of God, that it's pantheism, and that's a dirty word in Christian theological circles, because of the feeling that if everything is God, then all moral standards are blown to hell, because it means everything is as good as everything else. Everything that happens is really God, and this must include the good things and the bad things. And that seems to them a very dangerous idea. Actually, all religious doctrines contain very, very dangerous ideas. However, we won't worry about that for the moment, because what the Hindu means by God when he says Brahman is not at all the same thing as a Jew means by the Lord Adonai, because the Jew and the Christian means the boss, to whom divine honors are due as above all others. The Hindu, on the other hand, does not mean the boss. He doesn't mean the king, the lord, the political ruler of the universe. He means the inmost energy, which, as it were, dances this whole universe, without, as it were, the idea of authority, of governing some intractable element that resists his or its power. So, if a Christian or a person in a Christian culture announces that he has discovered that he is God, we put him in the loony bin, because it's unfashionable to burn people for heresy anymore. But in India, if you announce that you're the Lord God, they say, well, of course, how nice that you found out. Because everybody is. So then, why the great problem arises, does it appear that we are not? Why do we think? Why do we have the sensory impression that this whole universe consists of a vast multiplicity of different things, and we don't see it all as one? Well, what would you think it would be like to see it all as one? I know a lot of people who study Oriental philosophy hear about attaining these great states of consciousness, nirvana, moksha, which the Hindus use, liberation, satori, Zen Buddhist word for enlightenment or awakening. What would it be like to have that? How would you feel if you saw everything is really one basic reality? Well, a lot of people think that it would be as if all the outlines and differentiations in the field of vision suddenly became vague, melted, and we saw only a kind of luminous sea of light. But the Vedanta philosophy does not really seriously use the word one of the Supreme Self. Because the word and the idea of one has an opposite, many, on one side, and another opposite, none, on the other. And it is fundamental to Vedanta that the Supreme Self is neither one nor many, but, as they say, non-dual.
How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you so much for coming on into the stream. We appreciate you. Today's an interesting day. It's on the 14th. Yesterday was the 13th. Friday the 13th. Tonight, everybody should do, in a lifetime, sometime, two things. One is to consider death, to observe skulls, skeletons, and to wonder what it would be like to go to sleep and never wake up. Never. It's a very gloomy thing for contemplation, but it's like manure. Just like manure fertilizes the plants and so on. So the contemplation of death and the acceptance of death is very highly generative of creative life. You get wonderful things out of that. And the other things to contemplate is to follow the possibility of the idea that you are totally selfish. That you don't have a good thing to be said for you at all. You're a complete utter rascal. Now, the Christians have avoided this because although they say in their Episcopalian form of confession that we are errant and stray from thy ways like lost sheep, and we have followed too much the devices and desires of our own hearts, and nowadays, dopamine. Too much, you know. We have offended against the holy ones. We've left undone those things which we ought to have done. And we've done those things which we ought not to have done. And there is no health in this. But, it ought to be different. And we're going to do our best. Amen. With the help of God's grace. And that is a real con act. Because if you equate health and genuine love and perfect unselfishness, then in that sense, there's no health in us when we look at ourselves from this point of view. Now, when you're deeply into the nature of selfishness, what do you discover? You say, I love myself. If I seek my own advantage. Now, what is the self that I love? What do I want? And that becomes increasingly ever deepening a puzzle. So thank you for coming on to our stream tonight as we go through some faction battles, reading from Alan Watts, interesting character when it comes to the philosophical side of things. It's an interesting character. That reading that I just gave you all was from Alan Watts' interlude of his R.3.D. Thanks for sticking with it, but I don't know. I'm indifferent on this one when it comes to the philosophical side of things. But we shall see.